How's it going, everybody? I wanted to make this video because I wanted to share with you guys something that I'm doing right now that I'm really excited about. The other day I was surfing around on YouTube, as you know I often do, and I stumbled across a video, as often what happens when you're on YouTube, of a lady who was sharing her story about how she hand copied the Bible. And this is like her thing. And I'm going to actually put her link below. And she's got some fantastic stuff. But I saw that and I thought, what an awesome idea. You know, a lot of people, we don't appreciate the Bible as much as I think we should oftentimes. And a lot of guys, and I talk to this, and I'm so guilty of this, but we talk about what's the perfect Bible, what's the perfect translation, the perfect edition, right? And as I was watching this lady, you know, for her, this wasn't a problem so much as she just wanted to copy the Bible. Now, she actually did the entire Bible, from Genesis straight through to Revelation, both Old and the New Testament. And she did it in the ESV, and then she talked about how much she liked that, and so she's actually doing it again with the King James. And I was so moved by this, listening to this, and it made me think about this rich history that Christianity has, right? Where we've only had printed Bibles for about 500 years, since the Gutenberg press. Before that, all copies of the Bible were handwritten. And so if you wanted a copy of the Bible, you would actually have to go and, if you were rich enough, pay somebody, or if you weren't, like most people, copy it for yourself. That is, if you could even read, right? But at any rate, so throughout history, all of our copies of the Bible have always been handwritten. It's what we talk about, transmission, right? How we got it. It wasn't that one day this perfectly leather-bound, black leather, gold gilding on the pages with 2 red ribbon markers, you know, Bible descended from heaven. No, it was transmitted. Men made copies of copies, and other people, right? Now, watching this video inspired me to such an extent that I decided that I'm going to do the same thing. But I'm going to start with just the New Testament. And so I went ahead and I got myself a journal. Now, I'll tell you why I got this particular journal in a second. But I went ahead and got a journal. And I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the New Testament. But I'm going to do something a little bit different, which is, instead of copying from just copying a translation, say like the King James, the ESV, the New American Standard, what I'm going to do is actually translate it for myself. Now, I want to keep it 100% here, which is that I'm not saying that I'm not going to need helps, right? I'm not going to refer to these other things or use, you know, different tools, because there's no way I could do it without that, right? I'm not that fluent in Greek. But my goal is to simply, it's a good practice, and I thought at the end of it, I'm going to have an heirloom that I can give down to the future generations, or even for myself, right? But something that's one of a kind, that you can't get anywhere else. And I'm just so encouraged by seeing this lady, and I'll put her video, like I said, down below where you can check it out, her channel. It's some fantastic stuff. I would love to do a collaboration with her. I don't know if she would actually ever be open to doing that, but or at least talking to her about this, right? But anyway, so I am translating the entire New Testament, and I'm hand copying it in this journal. Now, the reason that I chose this journal, the brand is called STALOGY. I don't know if this is going to pick up, but the brand is called, there's these writings here on the bottom, and it just says stationary, standard and technology, what should have been is, and then the name, STALOGY. The reason I chose this is because the paper for this journal, you can't really pick it up, but it is extremely, extremely thin. And I'm going to get a close-up shot of this too. But the paper is extremely thin. And one of the problems that I saw is that people were talking about when they're hand copying is finding the right paper that works, that you can fit the maximum amount of information in a compact form. And so I saw some people that have done a New Testament, and it's like this thick. And the reason is because, you know, large handwriting, and they're using copy printer's paper, which I started with. But we'll look at this when we get closer. But my goal is just to take it one verse at a time and copy out the whole New Testament. And I have been having the time of my life. And it is slow going, but I just can't, I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait at the end of the day or in the morning. You know, I do my normal Bible reading, and then I get so excited to get in here and get cracking at this, because it's opened the New Testament to me in a way that I never thought, not that I didn't think was possible, but I never realized it could be, right? Which is, and you would have the same benefit if you were just copying it. Because what happens is you slow down. I mean, really slow down. You're focusing on each letter. You're focusing on the spelling, how it lays out, how they play in a sentence. And there's definitely benefits to reading something fast, and I agree with this. But there's also benefits from taking your time. And this, especially because I'm translating it, takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort. I anticipate this will probably take me at least a year, probably longer, to do this, right? I think there's 270 something pages, or chapters, I mean, in the New Testament, which doesn't sound like, actually doesn't sound like that much. So if I did one a day, you know, I guess it all depends. Besides, right now I'm in Matthew, which is pretty easy. I don't know if you're familiar with Greek, but Matthew's pretty easy. And I know from experience, as soon as I hit Luke or I hit Hebrews, some of these harder books, I'm going to go, I'm going to slow way down. So I'm anticipating it taking at least a year. But yeah, I don't care. I have all the time in the world. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you guys some close-ups of this, and we can get a better look. So here it is. It's up close. Like I said, here's that the lettering here. I don't know if you can see that. It says stationary, standard technology, what should have been is, and then the brand actually here, STALOGY. Now, again, the reason I went for this is because the paper quality is so thin that it actually is able to hold 375, at least, I think there's actually 378 pages, because it's really what it is it's a journal, like a daily bullet point journal. But I'm not using it for that, obviously. But it also has, just to show you here, a graph paper layout. It's very thin, very fine, and but that way I can actually keep my lines straight. So as you can see, I've gone for a paragraph format, single column, with a wide margin that I can put my translator notes on the side. So this is as far as I've gotten here. I'm still in Matthew. I'm in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5. But yeah, so I just put over here, like on the side, wherever I want, little translator notes. So as I'm translating, I'm putting those on the side, either alternate translations or more bringing out the meaning of the original Greek words. But guys, this has been such a blessing, and I have really been benefited so much from this. And you don't have to translate yourself, right? You can just copy from a Bible. But I still think there's a profound blessing that'll come from copying this out for yourself. So, yeah, I originally started with using printer's paper, but I was having such a hard time keeping the line straight, and it was such a pain that I ended up just stopping and switching to this journal. And I didn't have the heart to rewrite all this, so I just cut it out and pasted it in here on this page, and then started from scratch here. And that might bug some people that it's inconsistent, but for me, it doesn't matter. I think it just makes it cooler. It just adds to the story. But anyway, this journal honestly is really cheap. It's like 17 bucks, I think. But again, because it holds so much paper, even if I had two of them, because it's so thin, even if I had two, I'd be able to easily, I would have no problem carrying that around. I went ahead, and the pens that I'm using are just Pigmar micron pens, which I'll put these in the link too. Just different colors. The system that I'm coming up with is I use blue for highlighting the numbers. And let me show you an example here. I use blue for highlighting the numbers, and I use black for the letters, but of course Christ's words in red. But I'm doing something a little bit different, because it's the text that I'm using is a critical text Bible, but I'm also putting in Byzantine text readings into the actual text itself, and I'm putting those in purple. Now, the reason isn't because I think that they're questionable, but more so the fact that because I'm a majority text guy, so I really like the Byzantine text. But the reason I'm putting them in purple is so that I know where they are. So if somebody else is reading out of a critical text Bible, or I'm just studying along with them, I can see what's going on. I can see, the Byzantine text adds this. And I just went ahead and put a note down here, Biz/TR, that stands for Textus Receptus, right? So anyway, I have been enjoying this so much, and I'm just going to take my time, and you guys should absolutely do this too. So in closing, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to do this. I want you to hand copy the New Testament or the Old Testament. Doesn't matter. Do both, but start simple, right? Hand copy it, because you're going to appreciate it way more, far more than you ever would if you just read it out of your English Bible that's already been made. Because number one, you're going to become aware, number one, learning about the history of transmission, what it's actually like, right, when you're transmitting things, the history, and you'll appreciate the accuracy of scribes. But also, you're going to appreciate the actual New Testament itself in a way that you never have before, because you're going to be going so slow that you're going to be soaking it in and realizing things that you just never noticed before, things that really just stand out to you. But I want to challenge you to do this. And this is something, you guys, listen, this isn't going to happen overnight. Don't feel rushed. Just get one of these journals. This journal's cheap. It's like 17 bucks, I think, something like that. I'll put a link for it below. But get it, and a pen, and then just take your time and copying it. And it's going to be so precious to you. My goal is eventually to have this and carry it with me wherever I go. I'll have my normal English Bible, but also my own translation that will always be special to me, because this is something that I, you know, as you're writing, you're thinking about where you are or where you were as you wrote. And then when eventually, you know, you'll die, you can hand it on to your kids, and they'll always have this. And what a cool thing. Who else has a handwritten New Testament? Nobody I know. So I want to challenge you to do this. So get yourself a notebook. Doesn't have to be this one, but get whatever. Do whatever you want. But just start today, and I really challenge you to do this. So what better way to make the Bible your hobby than to hand copy it, am I right? So anyway, I wanted to encourage you guys with this, and I hope this blessed you. So I hope you have a great rest of your day in Jesus. So bye-bye.